A waitress watched in silence as a veteran was humiliated. But one man changed everything without saying a word. No drama, just dignity, and the message he left behind. It changed her forever. Subscribe now for more stories that remind us who we should be. The bell above the diner door jingled. Maya barely looked up. It was just another slow shift, another tired evening, the kind where the clock felt frozen. Then the door opened again. 4 guys walked in, young, loud, cocky, tank tops, designer sneakers, and the kind of energy that made people uncomfortable. They didn't care who heard them. Their eyes landed on a man seated near the window. He was older, quiet. His jacket looked military. His left leg was metal, resting beside the booth. His plate of food sat untouched. One of the boys smirked. "What's for dinner, Grandpa?" "Metal soup." Another one chimed in. "Bet he lost that leg playing Call of Duty." Laughter, sharp and cruel. The veteran said nothing. He just looked down, steady but tired. Like this wasn't new. Like he'd stopped expecting respect a long time ago. The other diners looked away, but Maya didn't. She placed her notepad down and walked over, not to the boys, but straight to the veteran. "Sir," she said gently, "would you like to move to the booth by the heater? It's quieter there." He looked up, surprised. She smiled. "It's on the house." Then she turned, calmly, her voice clear. "If you boys are done embarrassing yourselves, maybe let the man eat in peace. He fought so you could act this foolish and still go home free." Silence. One of the boys tried to laugh, but it cracked halfway. They stood and walked out quickly. No swagger now. The diner was quiet again. Maya refilled the man's coffee. Looked at her, eyes filled with something heavier than words. "Thank you," he whispered. She nodded, wiping a tear from her cheek. Real heroes deserve more than silence. They deserve to be seen. The moment the boys left, the silence in the diner changed. It wasn't heavy anymore. It was calm. Like the air had taken a breath it had been holding too long. Maya stood still behind the counter, watching the old man as he slowly stirred his coffee. His metal leg shifted under the table, and for the first time that night, his hands were steady. But the peace didn't last long. The door opened again. The boys were back. Or so she thought. It wasn't them. It was a tall man in a leather jacket. His walk was slow, deliberate. Mid-50s, sharp eyes, posture straight as a soldier's. He didn't look around. He only looked at the veteran. Then, silently, he walked over and extended his hand. The veteran hesitated. Dan reached out. Their handshake said more than any words could. The man took the crutch, helped him stand gently, and stood by his side like a brother in arms. Maya didn't know who he was, but she could feel it. This wasn't just anyone. One of the cooks whispered, "That's Colonel Reeves, Marine Corps, retired. He served 30 years. Maya's breath caught. The colonel reached into his jacket and pulled out a slim wallet. He opened it slightly toward the veterans, just enough to show the badge. No speeches, no drama, just presence. The bullies hadn't even realized what they'd awakened. But now, everyone in the diner had. The colonel placed a card on the table before walking back to the booth he hadn't even touched yet. The veteran looked at Maya. She didn't speak. She didn't have to, because sometimes silence is louder than shame. And that night, silence had finally picked the right side. Maya stood behind the counter, hands shaking as she wiped a glass that didn't need cleaning. But her eyes never left the veteran's table. The colonel had returned to his seat. No spotlight, no applause, just quiet strength, sipping lukewarm coffee. The veteran was still holding the card. The crutch leaned beside him, untouched. He didn't need it at the moment. Something in him had straightened. Maya finally walked over again. She placed a fresh cup on the table. "It's on me," she whispered. The colonel gave a faint nod. "You did more than most." She smiled, blinking away emotion. "I just did what was right." He looked at her, and that's rare. Other diners had noticed too. One couple paid for the veteran's meal without saying a word. A teenage boy walked over, saluted awkwardly, and said, "Thank you, sir." The veteran's eyes welled with something deeper than gratitude, something like healing. Maya leaned down. "Do you know him?" Ski asked, quietly, nodding toward the colonel. The veteran smiled. "No, but I know men like him. I know what it means when someone stands beside you, even in silence." She nodded, barely holding back tears. "I'll remember this forever." As the colonel stood to leave, he paused by the counter. He slid something across another card. Same message. It's a different name, for when someone needs a reminder that not all heroes wear capes. Some wear aprons. She clutched it like a medal. He walked out. Fanfare. Just footsteps fading into the quiet. Maya turned and looked at the door. He never looked back, but no one in that diner would forget the day. A quiet act of honor silenced ignorance and reminded everyone what courage truly looks like when it walks. And ... and doesn't need to say a word. No one remembers what the bully said, but everyone remembers what the waitress saw. Honor, quiet and real. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that stay with you long after the screen fades.